Greetings to all. I am C. Ashwini, doing first year B.Ed, Shakti College of Education for Women, Vattanchitram, Dindigul. Here I am going to narrate about the topic characteristics of good teaching, views of Western thinkers and philosophers on education and teaching. These two topics comes under Unit 2, Teaching and its Nature. In the subject Learning and Teaching, it is a full course paper. Now we are going to say about characteristics of the good teaching. So a good teaching is the main criterion of an effective teacher. An effective teacher and a good teacher has three types of characteristics. First is presage factors, then process factors, and then product factors. A good teaching in a democratic state. So India is a democratic state, you guys all know. So a good teaching in a democratic state is the one which provides freedom for all the learners to express their ideas freely. Then a good teaching. Now we are going to see about a good teaching. A good teaching must possess these following characteristics. First, it suits modern time. A good teaching is the one which suits the modern time, prevailing social conditions in the society and ability of the learners. Next is a good teaching requires less of controlling activities by the teacher and more self-learning by the students. That is, the teacher must have less control in the classroom and students must learn by themselves so that their imaginative power can be increased. Next is good teaching must be well managed. That is, a good teaching requires that the classroom should be well managed so that the students must be full attentive in the classroom and the teachers perform the functions of controlling with clarity and consistency. This is called a good teaching must be well managed. Next characteristics is it should be in a warm human environment. That is, in a classroom every individual should be respected and treated with dignity. Every student must be treated with dignity and none the teachers too. So the teacher should make everyone feel significant in the classroom. That is, the good teaching must be in the warm human environment. Next is it maintains interpersonal relationship. In a classroom, when a group activities is given, it should be maintained by interpersonal relationship. So interpersonal relationship enhances supportive nature within the classroom. If a problem occurs, the student must be able to solve it. So which maintains the interpersonal relationship. Then the teachers must be well educated and matured. So if the teachers are well educated and matured, they must be controlling the classroom in a well managed way. So therefore it requires a responsive human environment that takes the self initiative by the students. Students must self initiate themselves to attend any a group discussion or group activities. So next is individual differences. Every individual has their own characters. So every individual differences must be respected. So one student may be interested in one subject and the other may be interested in another subject. So their individual differences should be noted and teachers should help to develop their individual nature. Next, good teaching requires to show concern and care for the problem of students. If some problem occurs for the students, the teachers should take initiative to solve their problems. Next is stimulate the interest of students. Good teaching requires the teacher presents a subject content in such a way that is to stimulate the interest of students, and the teacher has to take necessary instructional aids and materials in his teaching properly. Next we are going to see about views of great thinkers and philosophers on education and teaching. There are various views. So first view is Greek philosopher Aristotle. What he said is teaching is a mark of an educated mind. If a thought is entertained, it should not be accepted blindly. So we have to thought process a idea, then we have to accept it. It is the thing, it is the concept that Aristotle have told us. So those who educate the children well are more to be honored than their parents, because parents gave only birth to a child, but teachers teaches them the art of living well. So the teacher has to be respected more than parents. Education differ from the uneducated as much as the living from the dead. These are the ideas that Aristotle have said. Next philosopher John Dewey, he said that is, if a person is educated, he is to develop necessary abilities to manage one situation, whatever the situation in life, he has to manage and discharge his responsibilities, whatever it is. So education is the continuous reconstruction of experiences. Next philosopher is John Jacques Rousseau. He said plants are shaped by cultivation and men by education. So by birth we are unaware of all the situations and unaware of what is education, but what he said is we are born weak but we need strength. We are totally unprovoked when we born, we need aid. We are born stupid, we need judgment. So for all these what are else are needed, it is done by education. Everything we don't have at our birth, so which we need are given to us by education. So child should make free to learn from nature. And also he added a few points, that there should be no formal learning, no discipline, and no teaching of morals. Education should be based on the natural instincts and tendencies. A child should learn through observations and their own experiences, own personal experiences. The main aim of education is to prepare child to improve the potential abilities, so that the child can face every situation in life boldly. The next philosopher is Euripides. He said, learn we may be with man's learning, we can only be wise with the wisdom of our own. The next philosopher Maria Montessori, he said that the aim of education is to develop the individuality of students. Every individual has their own characteristics. So the aim of education should develop the individuality of the students. So he's also added senses are the gateway of knowledge. To teach young children between ages 3 to 7, their sense of touch should be trained. The next philosopher Bertrand Russell, he said that the education is a process consisting of cultivating or acquiring disposition or the states of mind. They include beliefs, values, knowledge, skills and traits. He has given a definition for education as the formation by means of instructions of certain mental habits and a certain outlook on life and the world. He also added, whatever the teacher may teach, it is the education who has to grasp and internalize what is to be learned. That is, whatever the teacher may teach, the student must grasp the qualities what the teacher taught and use those qualities in life and internalize them. Then the self education is always superior to teacher imported education. Then he has given an example, that is, you can only take the horse to the pond of water, but it is the horse which should drink water. So whatever the teacher teaches, it is the responsibility of the student to grasp every qualities and use those qualities in life. Next, John Locke, this philosopher told us that plants are developed by cultivation and men by education. Adams philosopher have told education is a conscious and deliberate process in which a mature personality acts upon the immature to modify the development of the other by communication and manipulation of knowledge, attitudes, and habits. Next, Froebel philosopher have told true education is that which kindles man's growth from within. So, a man should learn from his own experiences and his potential capabilities. Through education, the innate abilities and spiritual longing should be brought. In social situations, by engaging on self activities, children's knowledge develop. That is, Froebel told that education is not thrusting information in the mind of children, it is the developing whole personality of each child. Through education, every child have to develop their whole personality. That is the education in the view of Froebel. That's all. Next, to conclude this topic, the education is a self-learning process. That is, the education must provide opportunities for students self-learning. Then it should provide variety of learning experiences to pupils. Then it should enhance relationship among students and facilitate to have direct first-hand experiences. Then the students should develop reflective thinking and practical skills, and also humanism and problem solving skills. These are the important characteristics. Then the formative and summative assessments should be conducted. Formative assessment means asking questions during classroom instruction, and summative assessment means that is reviewing what is taught through question answer technique. That's all. Thank you.